Worm Hat. This is going to be a video about the firmament, and first, this really has more to do with my last video. I should have thought of it, but I didn't. I talked about how the sun actually spins in the sky like a wheel, and the moon does it too. Just like there's only one face of the moon, same thing for the sun. It doesn't rotate how NASA wants you to think. It spins like a wheel. And here's this song, Wheel in the Sky. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And in this video I want to talk about the firmament, why the firmament is real, and why I think that it has certain optical properties and what those properties are. I think if anyone played Mario, do you remember this level? The sun follows you. The moon follows you. You can go on a long cross-country trip, driving all the way down the coast or all the way across country. The sun follows you, the moon follows you, it's very close. It's because it's an optical property of the firmament and it's user dependent. It's dependent on whoever the observer is. So if you move, they're gonna follow you. And it's not that far away. The image, so you see an image that's projected, it's just a user dependent, I don't know, I don't want to get into it too much because I don't know exactly what's happening, but I believe that everybody sees an image of the sun, and it just depends on where you are on Earth to what it's going to look like, how high in the sky, or that kind of thing. And so you can fly in an airplane, the sun follows you. The angle doesn't change all over the place wildly, and that's because it's optical. Rainbows, it's curved like a dome for a reason. We have a covering over us. And another thing about rainbows, well, we'll get to it in a second, but just look at the shapes of these objects. Rainbows are curved. We have these things called sundogs, which are circular. It's just all the signs point to we have something over the top of us and it's probably curved like a dome. And so this actually goes into me believing that all this stuff is optical. We're not actually looking at the moon. The moon is inside of the firmament, but this looks like it's inside of the atmosphere. This is something that people say all the time. They're like, the moon is inside the atmosphere. Well, that doesn't actually mean that the giant moon object is flying through our atmosphere. It just means that what we see as the moon, the image that we see of the moon, is inside the atmosphere. If you have a pair of binoculars, you can zoom in on the moon and you can easily zoom past it. So when you're focusing your binoculars, it's really not that far away to zoom in on the moon. Sometimes there's objects that appear farther away, and I think it's optical. And another thing that you can notice at nighttime, when you focus in on the moon, all the stars will be focused too. They all focus at the same exact distance. And so that just means that, basically what they do in a planetarium, don't they have like a domed ceiling and they project the stars onto that dome? That really is what it is. We have this like visible shell, a hemisphere around us, and things in the sky are projected onto that. And what proves it here is we don't see a dark thing. This is just a projected image. That's why we don't see the shaded part of the moon. It just disappears. It's because the moon object is not here. What we're seeing is some sort of optical projection of an object that's inside the firmament. So if you have a pastor that loves to talk about NASA or outer space, dinosaurs, they can't even read the first page of their Bible. I don't take anybody seriously if they don't at least want to investigate this stuff. And then if they can't find their way through it, NASA is bad. The stuff out of NASA is bad. I feel really embarrassed that I ever went along with it. Okay, Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Okay, what about that as outer space? And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. There was water, a ton of water. It's not outer space fantasy land. What do pastors say if you bring this up and you're like, well, where's all the water in outer space fantasy land? And God said, let there be a light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. This, I just want to show that light existed before the sun existed. And that's, I guess, another thing that you could call an optical property of the firmament. What daylight is, it's the firmament itself is lit up. The sun is a giant spotlight. And if you read Genesis 1 critically, you'll see that light. So daylight and sunlight are different. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters, because we have waters above and we have waters below. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. There's even, they make fun of this in It's Always Sunny. Mac, they always make Christian characters closeted homos. That's what they always do. Very typical. And that Mac says this, and people try to make this seem like it's gibberish and nonsense, but this is true. This is the truth. This is the alleged inventor of the V2 rocket, and they reference the firmament. Psalms chapter 19 verse 1. This is the referenced verse. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. That's why rockets look like this, because they can't keep going up because they'll just crash into the firmament. It's just a play for the plebs, and so that they can get off on their duping delight. But look at that. You can't keep going up. You'll hit the firmament. That's why they come back down. Okay, going back to rainbows. If you're going to make a rainbow inside, look at what you need. A mirror. You cannot make a rainbow indoors unless you have a mirror. So how's the rainbow work out there? I believe that the firmament has a semi-reflective property to it. Now, I don't think it's like a total mirror, because I think it's probably some sort of see-through or semi-see-through. Create your own rainbow. Place the mirror. You need a mirror. If you need a mirror to make a rainbow inside, what about natural rainbows outside? Oh, you're asking too many questions. This is my idea. What's probably going on? Well, I don't know. It's probably some sort of semi-reflective, semi-transparent thing. And we didn't have rainbows before the flood either. So the firmament maybe used to be completely see-through. And then maybe after the flood, God changed the properties of the firmament a little bit, and that gave us the rainbow. Another reason you know that the firmament is real is that they mock it and they talk about it plainly. The glass ceiling. Shatter the glass ceiling. We do have a glass ceiling above us. It's the firmament. They just turn it into this weird MTF tranny female empowerment thing. Operation Fishbowl. We live under a fishbowl. The whole idea of, what do you call it, snow globes. This just had some numbers in here. Number of tests. They did 11 tests, 11 duality. I always think of the 2 pillars of Freemasonry. And this was just ridiculous. Space rocket. I just cringe. I cringe so bad when I think of how campy space is. It's really bad. Making clouds. The reason I picked this, making clouds in a jar. And the way that you can make the clouds in a jar like this, pulling up on that balloon, changing the pressure, creates these little clouds near the base where the water is. And it's kind of hard to take a picture. You would have to watch the video, but maybe you can see that this is totally clear. And then now there's like a little puff of fog down here. I think this just shows that we live in a closed system. And I bet there's all sorts of other reasons that you can just know that we live in a closed system. Well, one, NASA flying through space doesn't make any sense. Our atmosphere would just blow away unless something was containing it. Okay, but I mean, I guess it's worth stopping here and talking about this. I don't understand the people that they can figure out that they lied about the moon landings, but then that's it. They get stuck on that. They still believe all the other BS out of NASA, even though it's clearly Photoshop, and even though their duping delight is just as bad with the other stuff, and they have all the same signs and the 33s. Some people, they just get stuck. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just once you realize that NASA's lying to you, you need to just look at everything. They're probably lying to you about way more than just that. And so that's the whole outer space is BS. Outer space Fantasyland is just wrong. You need to just delete all of that from your mind and start afresh and start with Genesis 1 and your own feelings, your own what you can observe. That was kind of a tangent, but here, I think that clouds, just the whole idea that we have an atmosphere, that's a terrible word, that we have a air layer and clouds, these things could point to we live in a contained system. I think also just when you look outside on a really calm day, it is so calm. There's no movement. That doesn't make any sense on chaotic, spinning, flying outer space land. I believe that comets are some sort of optical thing of, it might have to do with the sun. The sun's rays bouncing off something weird and then it ends up looking like a comet. I don't know exactly, but I think that the key is it looks a lot like flashlights underwater. Flashlights underwater basically look like, and that looks like a comet. If they just CGI'd the background black, added in some stars, you could call that a comet. I picked this because it's obvious CGI. Look at this. Scuba diving best night dives, Bahamas. Yeah, that's CGI. Look at the lighting down here. Just fake. So here's what a comet looks like. What NASA tells you is BS. Just had some interesting numbers here for this. So I don't know what the white thing is, I don't know what the blue thing is, but you can guarantee that they're gonna tell you some BS. I think they say, oh, the blue stuff is gas and the white stuff is dust. Okay, just because somebody feeds you some, prove it. Prove the blue stuff is gas and the white stuff is dust. How are you gonna do that? I don't think so. The blue ion tail is made up of gases, while the broad white tail is made up of tiny dust particles. And who knows, maybe there's a grain of truth into these things, but you look at that and you think of NASA outer space land? No, I don't. And what it brings to mind is how they make like the Disneyland rides where the Star Wars Disneyland ride where you go through a comet and there's all these ice chunks and they just fill your mind with this garbage fake imagery, but reality never looks like what is in your mind. Here's like a truth in plain sight thing. Look at the colors, the color combination of these FTM. Purple and orange. Purple and orange is Freemasonry color combination. I mean, just orange in general. And look, fake fish. They got a plastic marlin on the wall. Under the dome. Okay, these people know. They know the secret. And they don't want you to know the secret. They like their little exclusive club, and it makes them feel smug that they know these things that a normie doesn't know. And that's why they get so angry when you don't buy their BS, because they don't get to feel superior to you. And they have to face the fact that they're just a liar and trash. They'll talk about the truth all the time. The New Yorker, it's a flat earth, but then they'll write some garbage article mocking it. I'll end with just this last idea. This is a huge meme for them to present something as passé. Oh, those stupid people in the past used to believe this, and they also, lived in filth, etc. They love to do that. They do that with flat earth, even though I guess this is saying that people didn't used to all agree that the earth was flat, so I don't know what they're going on and on about here. But in general, people say flat earth. Oh, people used to believe that when they lived in filth and everybody died of when they were when they were born, and people were killing each other left and right. They want you to associate flat earth with bad, regressive, old stuff to hide the fact that it's the truth. And same thing with this. Why did the males play the female roles? We hear them talk about this all the time. Oh, did you know that the men used to play the women? Ha ha ha, chuckle. Do you know what the point of that joke is? The men used to play the women, and they still do too. It's this Mitch Hedberg joke. I used to do drugs, I still do, but I used to too. That's the idea behind these things. Oh, the men used to play the women. True statement. The men did used to play the women, and they still do too. Oh, people used to believe that the earth was flat, and they still do too. They're just liar, deceiving trannies, and they don't want other people to know the truth. God bless everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video.